My father crushed my baseball dreams until other men built them back up. He told them raising losers wasn't his problem. My dad threw my glove at my head when I interrupted his conference call to ask if we could play catch after dinner. I'd been waiting 3 weeks since he promised we'd practice for tryouts, but every night something more important came up, like spreadsheets or client emails or watching the game with a beer. When I knocked on his home office door holding the baseball he'd given me for my 10th birthday 2 years earlier, he didn't even turn around from his computer screen. "Get out before I take that stupid ball and throw it in the trash where it belongs, because you're never making any team anyway," he shouted while still typing. I stood there in the doorway for another few seconds, hoping he'd take it back, but he just waved me away without looking like I was some annoying fly buzzing around his workspace. "Did I stutter? Get out of my sight," he added when I didn't move fast enough. The next Saturday at the park, while my dad was inside watching golf and drinking his 4th beer, I noticed my friend Tyler's dad teaching him how to throw a slider near the baseball diamond. "Hey buddy, you want to join us?" Tyler's dad called out when he saw me sitting alone on the bleachers with my glove. We spent 2 hours working on my throwing form, and he actually showed me how to grip the ball properly for different pitches. "You've got a natural arm there, just need someone to practice with regularly," he said, while demonstrating the proper follow-through motion. Over the next few weeks, I started showing up whenever Tyler practiced, and his dad always included me like I was his own kid, never once making me feel like I was bothering him or wasting his time. Then Carter's dad started inviting me to their backyard sessions every Tuesday and Thursday after school, since he'd heard about my situation from the other parents. He'd played minor league ball and taught me things about reading batters and field positioning that actually improved my game dramatically. "Your dad must be proud of how much you're improving," Carter's dad mentioned one evening while we packed up the equipment. I just nodded, because explaining that my dad called baseball a waste of time for kids who weren't smart enough for real careers felt too pathetic to admit, even though all the neighborhood parents already knew the truth about him. 3 weeks later, my dad stumbled out onto the back patio with a client he was trying to impress with our house when he saw Carter's dad in our backyard teaching me and 3 other kids how to properly field grounders. "What the hell is going on here?" my dad demanded, his voice slurring slightly from his liquid lunch while marching across the lawn in his expensive suit. Carter's dad straightened up and explained calmly that he was helping the boys practice for their upcoming tournament. My dad's face turned dark red as he got right in Carter's dad's face, close enough that everyone could smell the whiskey on his breath. "You pathetic unemployed loser, playing daddy to kids that aren't yours because you've got nothing better to do?" he snarled while jabbing his finger into Carter's dad's chest. "Get off my property before I call the cops and tell them you're some creep hanging around children." Carter's dad stepped back but didn't leave immediately, which made my dad even angrier than before. "Your son asked for help, and we're just trying to support him since you told him he'd never be good enough anyway," Carter's dad said quietly but firmly. "You don't know anything about raising winners." My dad exploded loud enough that neighbors came to their windows. "I make more in a month than you'll see in 5 years, so don't lecture me about my kid, who by the way is too uncoordinated to make any team worth mentioning." The other kids had already run home scared, but Carter's dad looked straight at me, then back at my father. "That uncoordinated kid you're talking about made the travel team last week as their starting pitcher, but you'd know that if you'd ever once shown up instead of sending your assistant to pick him up from practice," he said before walking away. My dad stood there swaying slightly with his mouth hanging open while his client quietly excused himself and left. That night he barged into my bedroom without knocking, holding his dusty college glove and reeking of apology bourbon. "We're playing catch right now, so get your stuff," he ordered, like I was one of his employees he could boss around. I looked at him standing there unsteady on his feet, trying to pretend he suddenly cared about something other than his portfolio. "Carter's dad is picking me up in 10 minutes for practice because, unlike you, he actually shows up," I said while walking past him to the door. "Maybe you should stick to what you're good at, which is making money and making excuses, because you were right about one thing today. You definitely don't know anything about raising winners."